a very warm welcome to Daily Dispatch, a show that gives you all the latest news and updates from the digital ecosystem. I'm Priya Sheth. It's 5 p.m. on a Monday. Thank you so much for logging in. I bring you all the movers and shakers from the startup ecosystem. First up, let's have a look at the top news headlines that we've been tracking this evening. Billionaire Rakesh Jhunjhunwala-backed Indian gaming company Nazara Technologies has become the first Indian digital gaming platform to file for an IPO with markets regulator SEBI. Besides Jhunjhunwala, Plutus Wealth Management, IIFL Special Opportunities Fund, as well as Turtle Entertainment are key investors in the company. Well, moving on to the second headline of the day, Altera Capital has invested 90 crore rupees in digital payments firm Bharat Pay. To remember that this is one of the largest venture debt checks that have been written for any Indian startup, and this funding is part of a larger debt funding round of 250 crore rupees that the startup is raising. Well, digital health startup MFine has raised $16 million in a new funding round led by Heritas Capital. Existing investors also participated in this fundraise. Do remember that the company is said to have recorded a 10x kind of growth over the last few months owing to the exponential adoption of telemedicine. Well, moving on to a final headline of the day, Cab Dost, which helps taxi drivers as well as unorganized members of the community file their IT returns as well as plan their finances, has merged with Dwara Money. Together, both these companies will formulate full-scale financial offerings that will help bring urban Bharat under the formal financial umbrella.
Well, moving on to the second part of our show, where we have with us a very prominent personality from the online furniture space. We have with us Mr. Amrish Murthy from Pepperfry. Thank you very much, Mr. Murthy, for joining us today. I want to begin by asking you how the last 9 months have been for Pepperfry. We understand that the whole online market has seen a huge bump up owing to the kind of pandemic that has taken place. So for Pepperfry, what has been your experience over the last couple of months?
Firstly, thanks for having me, Priya, and it's great to be on your show. So the last 9 months have been, Confucius used to say that may you live in interesting times. I think he meant it a little as a curse, but I think the last 9 months have gone off very interestingly for us, but in a good way. So as you're aware, when things got locked down as part of the pandemic, most supply chains were shut down, right? One of the advantages that we had as Pepperfry was that we own our own supply chain. So the moment the lockdown restrictions eased, and this started happening in the middle of May, right up from then till perhaps the end of July, August, we doubled our business every single week. And why did this happen? It happened because through the course of the pandemic, 2, 3 fundamental things have happened with customers. The first is that we are spending a lot of time at home. So our awareness on what we want at home, and what we will absolutely love to have at home has gone up substantially. Earlier, you potentially had a sofa which made a little noise when you sat on it. Now that you're spending so much time at home, you absolutely want the best sofa to sit on, right? So that's one thing. The second is, of course, folks have got completely used to buying online, and that's really helped. So I think these two fundamental changes resulted in business taking off, despite the fact that we lost a couple of months this year in this financial year. We still hope to turn in really solid growth by the end of this year, for the full financial year. So that's a reflection of the fact that businesses has taken off over the last 9 months.
Recovery, I wanted to understand what has been the recovery so far. Are we already back to pre-COVID levels?
Oh yeah, we've actually exceeded pre-COVID levels. We started exceeding pre-COVID levels in August of last year. So about 5 months back is when that recovery curve went above, let's say, the February or the Jan months, right? So we've started exceeding pre-COVID levels. The other thing that's happened, and I think which is great for the business, is that there are two things. One is that, of course, you would know that areas such as work from home furniture, etc., would have gone up substantially, and that's happened with us too. But the growth is actually secular across product segments. So it's not only work from home furniture, but it's, for example, people buying more beds. People buying more sofas, people buying more dining tables. Often dining tables are also used to work on, but people buying across the gamut of furniture. And I think that's the interesting thing. The other thing that's happened is the financial architecture of the business, and I think this applies to almost every business out there, has changed in a very positive manner over the last 9 months. So customer acquisition costs have come down. Our conversion rate from buyers to from visitors to buyers has improved substantially. Consequently, not only have we grown, but we come like yay close to profitability. I mean, and that was our objective for 2020, right? We wanted to turn profitable, and as we do this over the next 12 to 18 months, basically leverage the size and scale of our business along with the fact that we make solid earnings to list our company. So all of that path is intact despite COVID. I think it's actually worked really well post-COVID for us.
I'm going to come to the IPO in a bit,
Yeah.
but talking about profitability, I know that you had made a promise to investors and to the street last
Yeah.
year
Yeah.
that Pepperfry will turn profitable
Yeah.
in 2021. So
Yeah.
when is the time, when can we expect Pepperfry to get profitable?
So let me just put it this way. My burn as a percentage of my net sales would be right now less than 5%. So, I mean, I can turn profitable any day. I just don't want to turn profitable at the expense of growth ever. So if there are areas where we need to continue to invest in order to, build a great business and continue to build it, I continue to invest. So, I mean, just to give you a dimension, I mean, I think we lose less than $200,000 a month, which is like nothing, right? I mean, for a business size and scale, we can turn profitable any day. So I think that promise that I made, we have got there. And hopefully, as business continues to scale up over the next few quarters, this will only keep going up, and therefore I'm all set for all the good things that should happen over the next 18 to 24 months.
So when will profitability really show in the books? When you said that?
So I think quarter one financial year of FY22 onwards. So we don't release financials every quarter. Financials are only released for a full year. So FY21 we won't be profitable. But if you had looked at, let's say, the last 6 months of FY21, we would have been very close to profitability. Quarter one of FY22, I think we'll be profitable and beyond. So I mean, we are there.
Right. So while we're talking about profitability, I want to understand your roadmap for the financial year 22. What more can Pepperfry do in terms of categories? Are you looking at further diversification? At one hand, you have a major like IKEA that is expanding in India. Also, the other online marketplaces are doing well in terms of furniture. So for Pepperfry, what is going to be your key roadmap for the year ahead?
Yeah. So I have 4 priorities for FY22. Perhaps this is the first time I'm sharing it with anybody. So here goes. The first is that, we have a very solid and robust core business, basically our furniture and decor business that's doing really well. So I want to continue so my priority, the way I've laid it out, is to profitably grow that business substantially for the year. So that's my first priority, right? So in which you will see us deepening supply, you will see us getting more products in within our core categories and so on. So that's my first goal, right? You will also see us doing a lot more with our house brands. You will see us expanding our house brand footprints. You will see us, exploring the franchisee operations, which have really. So I don't know whether you know, we opened 10 franchisee studios in the last 45 days. So that's a reach or an expansion which has just taken off, right? So that's my first priority. The second priority is I am very closely looking at scalable adjacencies. So there are businesses around us which we think are adjacent to Pepperfry. These are new categories, new areas to get into. I won't tell you which, but I am really closely looking at scalable adjacencies, and we will look to, as long as that adjacency has a size of more than a couple of 100 crores a year that we can get to, we will look to expand into that adjacency. So big bet, scalable adjacencies is my second priority. The third is we're going to invest heavily behind technology, right? One of the things we are doing is we are opening a Bangalore Development Center that should get operational as per current plan on the 1st of March. And so therefore, by doing so, we will potentially double our technology talent in the span of the next 2 months. So that's the third thing that we are looking to do. And in doing so, we will get ourselves future ready, not only from the standpoint of having a robust scalable site, but also in investments behind blurring the line between online and offline, investing behind scalable tech for VR and AR. So all of those things are what we are looking to invest behind in our third priority. And the fourth is something we've always been about, which is being a great place to work. And we will continue to aspire to be a great place to work. I mean, so these are the 4 things I'm focused on.
Right. And I want to talk to you about your IPO. 12 to 18 months is the kind of timeline that you had given to us last year.
Yeah.
And I wanted to understand what preparations have been made towards that front. Can we expect that to happen, at least for you to file your DRHP by the end of 2021?
I think, yes. I mean, so all through the lockdown, despite the fact that we didn't know how much COVID would push out, let's say, the process related stuff, but my finance team and my CFO has been at it. I think they did a stellar job. One of the advantages that we've had, I think, is that we've always, from an audit, compliance, etc. standpoint, we've always worked with the big fours and the best law firms, etc. So most of our stuff, paperwork, accounting, etc., is fairly top notch. So from a prep standpoint, I think we are there. The question is when to file. We want to have a few quarters of profitability behind us as we file. So that's the only thing that will decide whether it's end of this year that we file or is it early part of next year that we file. And towards what I said, I mean, 12 to 18 months, I mean, I stick to it, fingers crossed. And you can never time the IPO market, but we'll be ready, is where I'm coming from.
Well, on that note, we want to wish you good luck for your coming IPO, and we'll be there tracking all the developments very closely. Thank you, Mr. Murthy, for joining us today. It's really been a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for being a part of Your Story TV.
Well, time now to say goodbye. Thank you so much for watching this very special show, and I hope to see you tomorrow at 5 p.m. Goodbye and see you there.